bloody Frau Perchta! 'Tis the season for that Christmas dumpster dive. I've got good news and bad news for you today. The good news is this one's British. The bad news is it's called Mother Krampus. Until it came to America, that is, when it was then known as 12 Deaths of Christmas, or if you happen to have heard about it during production when its working title was The Curse of Frau Perchta, which is actually the most relevant title of the film that they came up with. So before we start, allow me to elaborate on Frau Perchta. Frau Perchta, the most well-known of her many names, is a snot of a mythological woman apparently obsessed with tradition and good behavior. The story dates back to Alpine paganism in the early Middle Ages. Its origins have been traced back to the Upper German region of southern Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. The legend has varying physical descriptions of Frau Perchta and seems to be connected to whether she was rewarding you or punishing you. If she was rewarding you for being good and honest all year, she was a beautiful woman white as snow that would come into your house and leave a small silver coin in your shoe. I don't care how beautiful you are, do not sneak into my house without my permission just to leave a dime in my shoe. That's creepy. It's even worse if you're on the other side, though. If you were bad or a liar, or if you were a yarn spinner that still had unspun flax by 12th night, otherwise known as January 6th, don't even bother trying to catch up on holidays, because that is also bad. This is when Frau Perchta shows up at your house as an old woman with a hooked nose and one large foot. Or there's a possibility she will look more like the infamous Krampus. Whatever state she's in, she will slit open your stomach, take out your organs, and replace them with straw and rocks. Maybe that sneaky dime isn't so bad after all. We already know one of the top signs of a bad film is multiple titles, so quite frankly, I'm already a little bit scared. We open with a deep voice telling us that children were being murdered in Belgrave 12 days before the Christmas of 1921, and the one survivor went insane and just kept saying the witch, over and over again. Then, in 1992, 5 children were found with their throats slit in the same woods. The murders stopped until the Christmas of 2017. This little boy wants to get Mom's attention because there is a trail of candy leading down the church aisle that nobody else seems to notice. You know, a simple 2-minute conversation about don't eat candy if you don't know where it came from might have solved this problem. Then again, I guess the kid could just say it came from church and the average person wouldn't think twice about it, so go on. At the end of the aisle is a pile of candy, and creepy whispers, and a shrouded person. Perhaps the 30-second add-on conversation of don't talk to strangers would have also helped. Or maybe just watch your kid, Mom.
Have you got any more sweets?
You just left a whole pile of them behind you, you twerp. Of course, the shrouded woman grabs him, they hear a scream, but it's too late, he's gone. Say what you will about bad horror films, they do show us good ways to clean up the gene pool. Meanwhile, the next day at school, Amy and Callum decide they are now boyfriend and girlfriend. Aww. And the school bully Kevin picks a fight. Kevin and Callum are both sent to detention for fighting. Amy's mother Vanessa tells Amy that they are going to Grandpa's house and Dad will not be joining them this year because he is busy. Vanessa tells her dad Alfie that days before Christmas, her husband Wilden said he was spending Christmas with another woman. It turns out Vanessa's mother just up and left them years earlier. Vanessa wonders how she will tell Amy about her dad. Just a hunch, she's probably already suspicious that something's wrong because Dad's not there. Amy calls her dad, who looks more like her brother than her dad, but okay. She convinces him to promise to show up for dinner the next day. Alfie gets a visit from Leslie, and he does not seem happy about it. Don't be so ungrateful, Alfie. Many men would gladly take a random Leslie showing up at their door. She brings newspaper articles about the missing children and says that the most recent child disappearance is the 4th one this season.
She is back, and whether we like it or not, we are in danger. The curse is real.
She tells Alfie to meet her at the church tomorrow with the others. Vanessa gives Amy a stuffed cat as an early Christmas present.
Well, with everything that's going on with Daddy and me at the moment, this might just be the next best thing.
So she does know about Dad already? Well, that was easy. Later, Amy sees a shrouded woman beckoning her outside. Back at the school detention, the 2 boys hear a noise coming out of the plastic tent in the room. Is that a timeout tent? God, kids are spoiled today. Back in my day, we had to sit in a chair facing the corner.
None of these fancy sleeping accommodations. Times were rough then.
Kevin decides to investigate and sees an old woman inside the tent. Instead of, being weirded out by a shrouded old woman randomly sitting in the tent in their classroom, he goes towards it, lets the woman take his hand, and she yanks him inside the tent. The teacher comes back and, because Callum just stood there and did nothing, tells the teacher, but alas, Kevin and the old woman are gone. Alfie gets Vanessa to drive him to the church the next day.
Molly's doing this again for what you all did to her all those years ago.
It's impossible, she's dead.
It turns out back in 1992, a woman named Molly Fletcher was supposedly the one murdering the children in the woods. And the parents of those murdered children took Molly out to the woods and hanged her. In 1992. Pretty sure the police were a thing by then. Did you at least try to go through the normal channels first? As they were stringing her up, however, Molly cursed them all by saying that someday Frau Perchta would come take revenge on them and their families.
Frau Perchta was a witch who over Christmas stole the souls of children.
There's a Frau Holda who seems to have done that, but not over Christmas, so they're combining two legends here. Frau Perchta, Frau Holsta, Frau... whatever it is, they are putting two of them in one Frau.
In one brow of woe.
Shut up, Patrick Stewart! And it's one Frau, not one brow, you punster. Joe gets creeped out and calls Jessica, who is babysitting his daughter Tilly. How old do children need to be before they don't need a babysitter anymore? That's probably why Tilly is acting like a little shit.
Okay, so what, you want a bedtime story, or what?
Go on then. But don't give me that tut about Snow White getting lost in the woods and living with a bunch of men. We all know what really happened to Miss White.
What the fuck kind of demented people do you have in this town? As revenge, Jessica tells her about Frau Perchta. What are the odds? Jessica claims that if you say Frau Perchta's name 3 times in front of a mirror, she will come to get you. So she's Bloody Mary now too? So she's Bloody Frau Perchta. Jessica gets Tilly to say the witch's name 3 times in front of the mirror, and what do you know? She shows up. So instead of, leaving the house or calling someone or both, they hide in a closet that conveniently doesn't get cell reception and turn on flashlights. Jessica makes Tilly go downstairs to get the landline phone so they can call someone while she stands watch in the closet. Like a coward. Just as well, turns out the witch is in the closet too. As she's attacking the babysitter with Christmas lights, apparently, Tilly hides in another closet. You saw how well that worked for the babysitter. Stop being useless and go do something. Or not. That's fine. Through some unknown means, my guess is no means whatsoever, the witch restrains the babysitter as she sews Christmas lights into her stomach. Joe comes home to find Jessica the babysitter strung up in the front yard like a Christmas decoration. She's just unleashing her creative spirit. Let her embrace it. Okay, how did the neighbors not notice this before Joe came home? Back at the church, the shrouded woman appears outside of the car where Amy is waiting for her mother and grandfather. Even though Mom told her,
Lock the door behind me and don't get out the car, all right?
Amy starts to go out toward the woman until Mom catches her and makes her come back into the car. The fact that you British children love sweets more than personal safety is a bit disconcerting.
I never stopped loving you.
It turns out Leslie is Vanessa's mother, the one who supposedly ran off unexpectedly. It seems Alfie kicked her out and told her never to come back. He is still telling her she cannot be a part of the family, but agrees to meet her at the church in the morning. They come home to a bloody 12 on the front door, even though there was nothing about the others having bloody numbers on their door, so why is that suddenly a thing?
Right, Dad, you need to start telling me what's going on, because I've just seen Joe outside the church and he started talking about urban legends. I mean, what the hell are you all up to in there?
Why? Because someone started talking to you about urban legends? Of course they were. You were at church. Apparently, the blood on the door is unimportant in the grand scheme of all of this. Alfie tells Vanessa the story of Molly Fletcher and how she was a weirdo and 5 children disappeared at the time.
I was working at the station, and then the rumours, stories about Molly started stirring, saying she was the killer.
The rumors were that Molly was using the children's blood for rituals and other things. That's when they took her out and hanged her, but apparently some woman stabbed her first with a friggin' machete. That is why everyone is freaked out. The witch is supposed to be coming for the children.
We watched her hang.
This Frau Perchta, you think that she's actually here?
I don't know that that'd be my first question under these circumstances. I think mine would be more related to, hey Dad, you hanged a suspected witch in the woods like it's fucking 1800?
Vanessa wants to know how her dad had a child go missing in 1992 if she is an only child. Well, of course she's not, it turns out. Vanessa had an older sister who went missing when Vanessa was 3 years old. Meanwhile, Amy decides to start cleaning the blood off of the front door while wearing a white coat. Oh, that's brilliant. Of course, here comes bloody Frau Perchta holding a hairless cat.
Because she wasn't charming enough.
Is that your cat?
Aren't you a little worried about this hooded woman following you around?
I'm not of here.
Oh, because that voice is reassuring. Callum appears randomly in the middle of the woods and tells Amy to be careful around that woman.
Don't worry. I've seen her before. She's a nice lady.
She's just stalking me, that's all. As Callum leaves, the hairless cat comes back, so Amy takes him inside and hides him in a cupboard. As you do. Have we all forgotten about the bloody 12 on the door? Does that not warrant a certain amount of concern? No? Okay. Callum and his aunt walk home through the woods. Even though she was just at the meeting saying bloody Frau Perchta frequents the woods and is after her and her relatives. They come across a fire in the middle of the woods and decide to investigate. As you do. The witch attacks the aunt while Callum sits there and screams for her to stop. Do something, kid! The witch takes a cookie cutter and takes a chunk of skin off of the aunt, then takes something out of her stomach and tries to make her eat it. After this, Callum runs past the witch to his aunt, because what else could you possibly do in this situation?
Run, 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 run.
What's that, Auntie? Ruminate on the situation. Rum and coke. Run for city council? I don't understand. The witch puts Callum in a burlap bag, eats a snack, and takes him into the woods. Belgrave must have a below-average IQ. Maybe this is just bloody Frau Perchta's way of raising the average. Vanessa randomly decides to investigate a cupboard in the living room to find it is locked. But the key is in the above drawer. Ah, clever. In the cupboard, she finds a tin with a sheriff's badge, articles about missing children, and a family photo of the 4 of them. Vanessa wakes up Christmas morning to Alfie putting stick crosses on the windows and Amy running outside to greet her dad, who brought his girlfriend Debbie along. Oh, this is gonna go well. Didn't he say he would be there for dinner the night before, that lying bastard? While Vanessa drives Alfie to the church, Amy snubs the girlfriend.
Oh, this is just wonderful.
I could have stayed at home.
Seriously, how did you think that was gonna go? Vanessa goes into the church with Alfie, who declares that he is now the only one left. I don't know how he knows that.
Dad, is she my mum?
Meanwhile, Alfie figures out that somehow the pattern of the missing children makes a pentagram. Okay, first of all, what is this pattern? Is it where the children went missing? Is it where they lived? Are these the current children? Is it the children from 1992? The movie doesn't really clarify this very well, so I don't know if we should be amazed or not. Secondly, the pentagram has such a bad reputation. The truth of the matter is, the closest thing it comes to an evil connotation is Wicca and the Church of Satan, both of which are surprisingly not actually evil. So this might not be a bad omen at all. This could be representing Freemasonry, or Ethiopia, or Morocco, or the Dutch city of Hoxbergen. Hell, it could be a Christmas star. You don't... Wait. It could be representing the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Oh my God, it's Mitt Romney, isn't it? Back home, everybody is still surprised that no one is getting along with the interloper. Debbie storms out and tells Wilden she will wait in the car.
I never wanted to leave you.
Then why did you?
He doesn't really answer that, he just begins packing. Vanessa confronts Alfie about how her mother never actually left them.
And what the fuck is this? What, you were a policeman now?
Wait a minute, earlier he said...
I was working at the station.
I mean, he could have been talking about a train station or a gas station, but what other station did you think he was talking about? Here she comes again when she's kicking ass and taking names.
Debbie!
Wait, he watched her come all the way up the driveway and said nothing until that moment? Why is nobody fighting this woman? They drag the now injured Debbie inside and argue over her as Amy goes downstairs where she is seduced by Darth Vader.
Come in!
So he sees Amy, but not bloody Frau Perchta or the bloody symbol on the door. Who washed off the earlier one, by the way?
Take these, the light should fend off the witch.
Might I remind you of this? You're probably just giving her something to decorate you with. They apparently live in a world where police and 911 are just not a thing. From here, the movie's really not gonna make much sense, but let's see how this goes. Wilden punches the witch, then stands and stares at her as she grabs him and burns his face somehow with her hand. Amy struggles with a locked window. The witch hisses at Vanessa, then apparently chokes her with some supernatural power while Amy hides under a bed. Bloody Frau Perchta attacks a cabinet. Vanessa is outside. Debbie's trying to go somewhere. Amy is now hiding behind a Christmas tree. She listens as bloody Frau Perchta trusses Debbie up like a turkey, takes the electric knife to her, and begins eating parts of her. Outside, Alfie admits to Vanessa that he sent Leslie away to protect his child. She doesn't stay to find out what the hell that means. I'm not sure those lighted sticks are warding her off so much as signaling her where you are. Wilden apologizes to Vanessa in the closet, or wherever they are.
I never stopped loving you. Everything got too much. Just you, me, and Amy was.
That is so not an excuse, you cheating bastard. You know what? Just keep going. Just keep going.
Wilden goes out to find Amy and instead finds Debbie. Amy watches from behind the tree and shouts at the last possible second for him to watch out as the witch ties him to a chair with Christmas lights, feeds Debbie's cooked innards to him, then tries to make him choke on his own vomit.
You fucking useless child!
Kill my daddy. Stay away from me.
Get away from her, you witch.
Dad's dead because of me, Mommy. No.
Kind of, yeah. You should feel bad about that.
Amy is panicking while leaning against the window.
Oh, this isn't gonna go badly, is it?
In efforts to chop down the door, Wilden chops Vanessa and she chokes on her own blood and dies while the kid just watches and cries.
You are clearly old enough to figure some shit out. Do something useful!
Wilden sees the witch and stands and stares at her. She then rips his heart out and he dies. The witch makes her way into the bathroom and shows Amy through psychic powers the big plot twist. I won't reveal that, suffice to say, it doesn't make any sense either. The movie ends with Amy joining bloody Frau Perchta in the woods and some creepy male voice telling her she is home. So why is this film in the dumpster? Well, let's get into some of the circumstances surrounding it first. There's very little information about the release and reception of Mother Krampus / 12 Days of Christmas. Suffice to say, it was produced by Proportion Productions, a 4-year-old British production house that appears to specialize in straight-to-DVD horror films which all appear to star many of the same actors. You can change that though if you join their Facebook page where they have regular casting calls for those in the London area. It currently has a bit of a scant following, so that could be why the same actors are in all of their films. They also have a recent Facebook post bragging about their mention in the Hollywood Reporter in an article talking about mockbusters. That's right, Proportion Productions is the British Asylum. This not only gives insight to its lack of notoriety, it also gives some insight to its lack of quality. The script is nonsensical and downright irritating at times, the child actors are horrendous, the lighting simply adequate, and the cinematography is sprinkled with shots that are either clever or terrible. They border on that artsy line where it's either kinda cool or kinda dumb and irritating. I don't know that this film would qualify as a so bad it's good kind of film, but if you are daring enough, go ahead and give it a try. Remember, you only live once. Unless you're bloody Frau Perchta. Then apparently you can come back once in a while. Here comes bloody Frau Perchta on her way to kill all ya.
Choppity choppity, Christmas sucks this year.